Today, let's talk about money. People really don't like talking about money, right? Whether a person earns, doesn't earn, and so on. And generally about finances, because on one hand, I understand why they don't want to talk about it. It's a sensitive topic because people shouldn't unnecessarily build castles in the air or divide the bear that still runs in the forest. On the other hand, a person should have clarity about which path they are taking, why they are taking that path, what the goal of that path is, or at least what the outcome should be, and have some idea of how long the journey will take, what the phases of the journey will be, and so on, right? That means when I started, back in the day, there really wasn't any money, The opportunities weren't there. Today, it's completely different thanks to prop firms. And I resisted this topic for a long time. It seemed to me that their business, the prop firms, is actually built on charging for the challenge and basically living off that, but not from trading itself, which maybe not. I actually don't know. Many prop firms probably still operate like that today, but I tried to look at it from a different perspective. That means we won't just play around, we'll do business. I have a business plan, I have a trading plan, I behave in a disciplined manner. This means, with these qualities and experiences, I think I can approach, or here approach in quotes, but already enroll in some prop firm for a challenge and fulfill that challenge. When I'm at the beginning and I tell myself that big money separates me from success, on one hand, yes, but I didn't have the experience. So we first need to gain that experience, and then we can afford to approach in some way, perhaps the challenge or any capital at all. And thank God for prop firms. Thank God that traders have the opportunity to test it with large capital. But with completely different consequences, you could say, right? Just imagine that today you say, I've reached that bar, and you set that bar yourself, right? No one else, only you set this bar. And you say, oh, okay, I'm at the stage where I'm a disciplined trader. I know what I'm doing, I know my weaknesses, but I also know my strengths, and I can afford a prop account. And you take a $1 million prop account, right? That's a $1 million prop account, let's say, in euros, 50,000 euros, dollars. It doesn't matter, right? $1 million account. So it's easier for us to calculate. And that bill will cost you, I suspect, 6,500 at Fintoka, plus or minus the bus. You pay 6,500 and you have $1 million account. And now you need to prove that you're not gambling, that you have some system, that the system works for you, that you have it, that it simply works for you, that you know what you're doing. That means in some way you start completing the challenges until you reach the point where you complete one step of the challenge, the second step of the challenge, and then subsequently a period where you earn most of the profit, while a small portion, well, it's not that negligible, but a portion is kept by the provider who lent you the funds or who is paying you. That too. The difference is trying to trade with $1 million, and if something just goes wrong, it costs you not just embarrassment, but a coat of shame. Now, you either earn that $1 million, or heaven forbid, you borrow it. That's the absolute worst option. Or you tell your grandpa, grandma, dad, mom that you're doing well and you just need that capital. And now, if it doesn't work out and you lose this capital, it's completely different. Whether you lost your own 6,500 or 1 million crowns, it's just not a joke. And it's true that with the prop account, you won't lose the whole million. You will lose they won't let you, right? They won't let you wash out the whole million. They will let you wash out 10% of that money, right? Only then it's stop and end, and you're just not valid anymore. Most of them allow 10%. There is usually a 5% daily drawdown and a 10% total drawdown as such. So they allow 10%, but still, washing out 10% ARPU is not your 6,500, right? Imagine that if it were those 10%, then from a million, it's 100,000 crowns. So you go to your grandma and say, Grandma, like, thank you, but I lost 100,000. Why? Try it on that prop and try to succeed in it. If you succeed here, then the question is whether it's more comfortable for you to look after your own money. That means starting to generate some money in some way, which you would then put into trading and trade with your own money. It's nice that you're not completely against the wall. And the rules are more relaxed than, but still it's important to follow the rules. The second thing is the potential of that prop. The $1 million account, when we talk about the fact that you will earn, it's said that those who promise 10% consistently every month, like 10%, that they are able to earn, usually it's not like that. Yeah, simply 10% is really a lot. Yeah. Let's not have rose-colored glasses, and let's not think that if you, trade for 3 or 4 years and you think you will consistently and systematically make 10% monthly. I think it's possible, but it's unlikely. So probably not. But what you might be able to do probably is maybe, half of that is still a lot. Let's divide that half again, okay? That means take off another 2 or 3% from that account. 2%, 3%, because sometimes you manage to make 5%, and the next month you might not make anything at all. You end up at 0 because the markets just weren't very favorable. You hit some take profit, some stop loss, and you just ended up with a clean 0. That means those will also be your real months. So when you calculate that you'll be making, if that 1R was 1% of that million, then it's 10,000. If you manage to take away on average 30,000, 3R, then it's 30,000 monthly, which is about 360,000 annually. It's not too little. It's not too much. It's an experience. And if you can manage to credit 360,000 to your account in a year with a million account, then it's fantastic. And it's some kind of premonition for you that it's good. And if you buy a 2 million account, it will cost you about 11,000, and it's already twice as much. It's already, that 1%, it's already 20,000. That means with 3R, on average, you're already 60,000 a month in profit. If you manage to do this, and if you listen to what you need to do, if you don't gamble, if you actually follow your trading plan and have some back testing, you'll have something behind you. And at Fintoki, you can even buy a 10 million account. And there it's absolutely wonderful. It's just great. It's like a blast when you work your way up. That means don't start with a 10 million account, just as I think it's unnecessary. It's true, you'll save some time, but you need to understand the process, how it behaves, how you behave. That means don't try it on the largest account. Buy it. Will you succeed? Or don't buy it as the first one, but when you buy a 10 million account, which is even more scalable, and when you are doing great, they will offer you cooperation and can increase it for you. So it doesn't end at the 10 million, and you can continue further. And that's not the point, right? If we take those 10 million, you buy it, it costs just under 60,000 that account. And you have 10 million for trading. That means the 10% drawdown always 1 million. You can go into a loss of 1 million. That's incredible. Yeah, it's amazing to grasp this, but again, not everyone can grasp this. This is very difficult. And again, if we look at the positives, right, it's great because 1% is 100,000 crowns. If you make 3 and you have 300,000 monthly, regularly, that's already an income that is a dream for many, many people in the Czech Republic. It's gross, you have to tax it, but still a lot of money remains even after taxation, after deducting all fees. So that's amazing. And if I take it to the extremes, when we're talking about the 10 million account, and you potentially, and if you gained 2%, 2R on average for that month, then it's 200,000, on that earning. And again, something goes to the broker, something you have to pay in taxes, but 200,000. But do you know how much that one stop loss physically costs you on that 10 million account? Well, if I calculate 1% of the account, that means you have about 10 lives, in quotes. Then it costs you 6,500. So your real stop loss is 6,500 crowns. But you are going for the potential, aiming for that 1% of the total account, which means 100,000. That's fantastic. And then I don't need to multiply it for you anymore. It's simple multiplication from first grade, meaning multiply it by 12 and so on. That's like the dream life. But before you reach that dream life, meaning the lifestyle you see on the internet and what attracts you to trading, it's a long journey. And it's not about just taking one course and saying, sure, this course has 3 phases, so I'll complete these 3 courses. And that's it, right? No, it's really not like that. Education is important there, but it shouldn't be overdone. Common sense must prevail, or especially in the markets. That common sense has to be extremely important. That means, yes, you can earn hundreds of thousands, millions, annually, monthly on Forex. It really has no limit. How much can you earn on Forex? The limit is as much as you can lose. Or rather, there are things when, and that we'll talk about that another time. That's a topic for another video. What is the risk of trading with your own capital, and you can get into terrible debts, and you're not only liable with the capital you send there, right? That means if you think that when you send a trader, but when you send a broker 100,000 or 1 million, and that you can only lose what you send to that broker, that you can't lose more, you are very mistaken. Be careful with that. It doesn't apply to all retail, but when you want higher leverage, that means 100 and above, 100, 200, 400, 500 leverage easily. That's not a problem. It doesn't apply to retail traders. It applies when you register and actually get drawn into that leverage of 100 and more. And you say, yes, I am a professional trader, I know what I'm doing, then different rules of the game apply to you. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll break it down in another video. But that won't happen to you with these prop firms. And this is also an interesting topic, which would be like adding a plus to those prop firms, This means that here, it can't happen to me that if, heaven forbid, there's some kind of black swan event, like what happened with the Swiss franc and so on and so forth, it can happen with anything. And now we see what's happening in America. So, terrible things are happening. So, that's also why I would reach for prop money and not my own, right? Because it's a certain, it's not like safety, in Forex, in trading on financial markets. There's never really safety. You're always risking some money there, but it's a step safer than putting everything at stake. Or if you're satisfied with 30, with a leverage of 30 on Forex, then that's fine. And if you're completely satisfied without leverage, well, that's great. But again, you need to have the resources, the finances, which not everyone necessarily has. Some leverage is fine. It's like with fire, like with anything else. A good servant, a bad master. So you need to operate on Forex with common sense. And then these things can be utilized. I just need to be aware of the risks that concern me and assess whether it's the right risk for me. And the prop accounts make me feel somewhat safe. Because really, if I completely burn through the prop account, it can't happen. That I would lose any additional capital, or At least it shouldn't happen. And I'm not aware of any risk. If you know of something like that, I would definitely appreciate it if you could write it in the comments. But there are additional risks that I haven't mentioned here at all. And I'm saying if there's something new for me, we will definitely expand on this topic and continue discussing it further. So, yes, today anyone can trade on the Forex with huge amounts. A 10 million account is really a lot of money, and it can generate a lot of money for you. And there we're already talking in the units of millions. Then we're talking in the tens of millions. It's just like a big business, and you only need to extract a little bit from it, as if that's my perspective. Prop must own money, and money in general, right?